Welcome everybody to our Module 4 live session. It is 7:30 Central Standard Time, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I realize people are still coming in, but I want to make sure to respect everyone's time. As we get started, I want to do a quick sound check. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Can everybody see the PowerPoint?
Yep.
All right, we're in great shape.
Go and put Dad down. Get ready for bed. Evelyn, school starts.
So, welcome everyone to Module 4's live session. In this live session, we'll be covering some important dates and reminders. We'll do welcome and introductions. We'll check in to see how you guys are all doing. We'll discuss APA format, reflection and critical thinking questions from Chapter 7, importance of play, sharing what has impacted you in this module, and how to nurture relationships. And then at the end, you guys will have some time for questions and answers. So just a reminder, if you are viewing this session as a recording, then you must complete the live session assignment in order to receive full credit for this live session. In order to complete this assignment, please click on the live session title under the assignment tab in Module 4. This will take you to a one-question quiz where you can provide your thoughts and reaction from tonight's live session. Please be sure to press the submit button when you are done. If you're not attending tonight's live session, you must participate in the session by sharing your thoughts and reactions to the questions I asked tonight. You can participate by verbally sharing or your opinions, or you could type your thoughts in the chat box. So I wanted to go over some important dates and reminders for you all. Please make sure to look closely to the course calendar for due dates. I don't want to deduct any points for late assignments, but the college policy is a 10% deduction for each day that an assignment is late. This applies to discussion posts as well. So assignments are due by 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time every Sunday. Initial discussion posts are due by 11:59 p.m. every Tuesday. Discussion responses to peers are due at 11:59 p.m. every Saturday. For full credit in discussions, please respond to at least one peer as well as any questions I may ask you. You are encouraged to respond to more than one peer and the questions others peers ask you as well to expand your learning. Please refer to the calendar for the Module 6 assignments and discussions, as they are a little bit different. We will have our third and final live session next week on Wednesday, September 6th at 7:30 Central Standard Time. And lastly, please don't forget to be working on your journals this week. It is due in Module 5, but you should be writing one journal entry each week. And this week's area of focus is individually appropriate practices. Does anybody have any questions at this time?
I do. I have two questions. Are the journals, like, I see, like, if you go to, like, the tools bar, it has, like, the calendars and all that. And then there's a journal. Is that where we do the journal, or do we just do them as a Microsoft Word?
What you could do is you could do it as a Microsoft Word, and then you would upload it into the journal section for that course.
Okay.
And then you just hit the submit button.
Okay, and then I was confused about the discussion post for this week. You had one like on the announcements, you know, like with those 3 images. Were we supposed to do a discussion about that, or like when you go to your lesson content and like all of the modules, there's the discussion on there? Are we supposed to do one for each, or?
You're you're supposed to do. Let me look at my notes here. I'm not in the course right now. Let me get back to you, Brittany. Okay.
Okay.
And I will get back to you after this.
Okay, because if you see, I didn't do a discussion. I mean, I have it written up in my notes, but I was just confused, like, which one you were meant to do.
Yes. I will get back to your question because I don't have that right in front of me at this time.
Okay.
And I will answer that for you right after we are done tonight.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Uh-huh. So I want to keep on going. Please briefly introduce yourself and invite yourself and where you're from and your favorite things to do. As most of you guys know, my name is Mike, and I currently reside in Colorado. And my favorite thing to do when I'm not working is to spend time with my wife, Brooke, and my daughter, Annika. As you can see, I love spending time with my family. We were at Disneyland this summer, and it was just a great time for us to have a family trip. I just love watching my daughter's development since she was a speck in her mom's womb. The photo you see in the slide, you could see that we were at Disneyland and we were having a good time. My little one was a little crabby that day, but I think she enjoyed Minnie Mouse. So just want to open it up and for anybody else to participate, just name who you are, where you're from, and what you like to do when you're not working. So I got a question from Shauna. She asked if the journal entry will be done in APA format. Since it's a journal entry, you do not have to do it in APA format, just the writing assignments. So if it says writing assignment, yes. Journals, no, you do not have to. Welcome, Shauna. Shauna lives in Illinois and she loves to draw. Brittany lives in Appleton, Wisconsin, and she loves spending time with her family and spending time outdoors in four-wheeling, dirt biking, as well as thrift shopping. I like the Goodwill too. Kendall is from Illinois. She loves spending time with her nieces and nephews, as well as going on hikes and spending time outdoors. Welcome, Kendall. Welcome, Aquila. She also lives in Illinois, and her favorite thing to do is ride your motorcycle. Nice. Well, welcome everybody. So I just want to check in and see how you guys are doing. How is the class going for you so far? What are your reactions from Module 4? Are you guys reading the announcements each week? So I have a lot of chats going on just to share. So, so Brittany said it's going good. Very good communication, even though we're not seeing eye to eye or in person. That is good. And yes, I do read the announcements. Aquila says it's exciting, just overwhelming, but I have learned how to understand my daughter in her stages. That is great to hear, Aquila. How's the APA format going for you guys? Well, Brittany, we will be going over APA format a little bit tonight. So hopefully that will help you understand what I'm looking for, kind of what the college is looking for, and for your other future classes going forward. So hopefully that I could answer maybe some of the questions. Some of you guys are getting docked off. Yeah, and Aquila said it's been overwhelming too, APA. It is hard to get adjusted to, but we will get this. We'll get through this together, and hopefully I could give you guys some resources, and you could find some resources for you guys to succeed in that area with APA format. So let's jump on in and go to the next slide, which is APA formatting. So I pulled this APA formatting title page right off of Rasmussen's, the Rasmussen resource tab. I know in last week's writing assignment, many of you were missing points on your writing assignments because you did not have a separate cover page. APA format requires you to have a separate cover page that includes the following in order. It's kind of particular. So I did pull an example for your reference. So what we're looking for is the title of the paper. So if you're writing your writing assignment, make sure to put the title of your paper, of course your name next, Rasmussen College, and then a little author's note of when you are submitting it. So, I mean, you could even put August 30th, 2017, or whenever the due date is. So, that is a good way to kind of take this in and make sure that you guys are understanding that this is kind of what I'm looking for when you guys are doing the writing assignments. If you want to know a little bit more about APA, I kind of provided how to get to my resource tab. So if you want to get to your resource tab, click on your class, and in the top right of the page, it will say resources. Here is a visual I put on the slide for you. So if you take a look up here, it says resources. The picture, the snapshot's a little blurry. So once you click into that, you'll come to a page that looks like this. And then if you scroll over down kind of halfway, you'll see the APA guide and sample paper and APA template. And it also has a bunch of other tools that you may want to look at for your reference. It has a tutoring platform if you're struggling in this class or even in a different class that you're maybe taking. It has library resources, Job Connect. So I do really encourage you guys to actually look at that in the resources by clicking on there and going into that, just so you know where you could find it and how to navigate through that. Does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions? All right, I'm going to move on to reflection and critical thinking questions from Chapter 7. So think about and discuss ways your learning environment affects your children. If you're a teacher at a preschool or at a school or even your own children at home, think how it affects your children's behavior, relationship with peers, academic performance. I'll share a little bit that, just an example so you guys have an understanding. So an overstimulating environment filled with too many activities can make a child feel stressed and therefore act aggressively, or on the flip side, become withdrawn. So a child may be too distracted by the environment to focus on building relationships with peers or academic performance. Does anybody have anything to share with that? How does it affect children's behavior in the classroom or with what you're doing, say, your own kids? Think about daily schedules and room arrangement. Does anybody have any thoughts on this? Does anyone have any more thoughts? Oh, it looks like Shauna has a thought. So Shayna said that environment can help the children develop, but it can also cause the children to become stressed out if they are surrounded by negativity, and that is true. And that kind of leads us into the chapter that we're on, creating positive environments that are nurturing for children. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. All right, we are going to move on to the next slide. Thank you guys for your discussions. So continuing this, if you were asked to design a one-room childcare classroom or a center, What would be the most important influences on your decision making as presented in the chapter 7?
Children.
You may choose from a philosophical position or a more practical idea. So think about like what it looks like and how would you design it? What are the most influencing factors? So Brittany said the children, the materials available, how the class is laid out. Brittany, how would you design your class?
I guess it depends on like the curriculum.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Like depending on like what curriculum you're using or like what the license is. Like some people go off the licensing, some people go off the standards.
Mm-hmm. So, like, say you were in a 3 or 4 year old classroom, would you have, say, like, the library, which is a quiet center, by the block area, which is a very noisy center?
No.
And why would that be?
Because it is noisy and because the block center can tend to get noisy, wild. Yeah, too many distractions.
Yeah, that's what Quila just said. It's too many distractions. That's right. I mean, it's hard. I think it's really, as teachers and educators, we got to be really intentional about how and where we design our room and where we put things. Of course,
like,
you don't want. Go ahead.
Like for me, like depending on like it really depends on the center, the space, the availability. But like if I'm going somewhere new, I'll set it up to my standards. But then if you're gonna you set it up to my standards, and then tomorrow the kids are gonna come, I would do observations and move things around according to the children.
Yes, that's definitely what a good practice to do. And there's a lot of times where, as a teacher and as an administrator, I would go into the classroom and ask my teachers if, is this being, the design of your classroom, are they getting bored with this? And, I think right away it's good to have like that, making sure that you have consistency so the children know. But after, being in a classroom for a long period of time, and for like a 5, 6, 7 months, you probably want to change things out, and you probably want to rearrange things that works for the children.
We actually, at one center that I worked at, it was a 5-star center. It was kind of like mandatory to change the classrooms once a month, 3 weeks to a month. We had to change them out, and changing out like some of the bigger toys, the toys that you're using, like, changing out the blocks. I mean, you're going to change toys out anyway, but it was more of the bigger toys we had to rearrange. It was like 3 weeks to a month. It was mandatory that we had to switch all that stuff out.
And that is good practice. That is very good practice to do. Kendall said I would make sure it's fun and inviting and have separate areas for different activities. that work best with the classroom layout. Have an art station near the sink. That's a good example. What other areas, Kendall, would you have different activities? So you said you would have an art station. Would you have maybe technology station or a library or large mortar by there? Tell me a little bit more about that. How about dramatic play? I know in our Head Start classrooms, we have about 8 different centers that are open to children. So we just make sure that they have that opportunity to go to each center, as long as there's not 9, 10, 11 kids at one center. And, you know, making sure that they know the rules and the expectations prior to going to those centers so they know what is expected of them. Does anyone else have any other thoughts? So not hearing or seeing anything in the chat box, I am going to move on to our next topic, which is the importance of play. So in the last module, you guys we talked about, and you guys had good discussions with the importance of play, and your papers really showed that you guys have an understanding of what that is. And I guess for me, it should be enjoyable, should be open-ended, should be free, should be meaningful, should be timely, it should be involved. What does that look like for you guys? What does it look like to have a free, meaningful, timely, and involved play?
Fun.
And why is it important in child development? Brittany said fun. So Quila said, help them learn and adapt to the environment to gain social skills. You're absolutely right. Shayna said it helps them interact with their peers. Think about the outside environment. I mean, we talk a lot about the classrooms, but think about the outside environment. What does that look like? Have you guys ever thought about bringing your classroom outside and the toys that you have, like dramatic play, outside? Kiki said it teaches them boundaries. Good. Should teachers be engaged in play with the children? So why is it important for teachers to play with the children? Kendall said they can, but it's important to allow the child to direct what is happening. Yes, it should be directed through the child, but it also should be, your interactions do play a crucial role in their development, especially with their vocabulary too. What is the one thing that you guys took away from Module 3? So Shannon said that the children need to play and it helps them go a long way in life. Aquila said the different stages of play. Do you guys have any questions about the different stages of play? You know, in the paper that you guys wrote for your writing assignment last week, the stages of play, sometimes you could have more than just one or two or three or even four different stages of play. And it could be, you know, it could be different. It's different for each child and different for each situation. Wheeler said how a child that is new to the environment may be an onlooker, then go to being solitary, and then to be social. Absolutely, that's very correct, Aquila. That is, it's not just one stage of play. There's several different stages of play that each child can have, and they kind of interchange with them.
Everyone has a game tomorrow. That's 6:30.
That's my daughter too, Aquila. It depends on their mood.
I thought you were going to bed.
Kathy, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Love you. Good night. I'll see you in the morning.
Okay.
Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bug bite. No, she's gonna go in her kennel. If you want to, you can.
So Aquila said that it depends on their mood. It says it's funny how a 23-month-old can have so many different moods. I completely agree. And it's funny how each child has their own unique personality. All right, does anybody have anything else to share on the importance of play from last week? If nobody has anything to share about the importance of play, we are going to move on to nurturing relationships. So what are some ways that you can positively nurture relationships with young children and their families? I'll share a little bit about our Head Start program. Our Head Start teachers have 2 mandatory home visits that they do with their teacher to get to know them and their child better. They go into the home and they have like pretty much a conference before they start school, so they could get to know what the child's goals are, what the family their expectations of the teacher, and what the teacher's expectations are for the child and the family, and getting to know the center. I think making sure that you establish that relationship with the parent that is open and will lead to positive and healthy relationships. I have a TED Talk video, and it has an interesting perspective on the importance of creating nurturing environments where children are free to explore and learn. I'll post this link in the course in the live classroom session discussion forum so you guys could view it. It's really interesting, and I really encourage you guys to actually look at it. So Shayna said interact with them and see what their needs are. You are right with that. Kiki said, I just had my first home visit for my son today. I love Head Start. Head Start is a great program. Brittany had a good question. She wrote, what are people's thoughts, Head Start versus a pre-K program?
And I'm asking that because actually my daughter's father, we just had this discussion the other night at dinner, what the difference was, because our daughter's going to both Head Start and pre-K, and he just wants to know the difference, and I tried to explaining it to him, and so I just, like from my point of, so I just want to hear what everybody else has to say.
Does anybody have any insights on that? So she is duly enrolled, right, Brittany?
Yes.
Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Kiki said the one thing I like about Head Start versus pre-K is that it's very family-based, and my son gets a lot of one-on-one time with his teacher. You are right with that, Kiki. A lot of Head Starts, their ratio is usually a lot smaller than a pre-K. And I mean, there's a lot of factors that come into it. So the attention that your child will get, or a child would get, is usually a little bit better in a Head Start program, in my personal opinion. But, you know, it just depends on, you know, it depends on a lot of things. But, you know, with Head Start, there's different resources, you know. We talk about pre-K, but there's also different departments, like there's health and safety department, there is a nutrition department, there's a mental health department, there's just different departments, there's a family services department. So I mean,
so okay, so like, would Head Start be better off to pick up like the developmental needs of your child versus pre-K? So like say like a speech verse, or I guess I don't really know, like just developmental needs altogether. Would they be able to pick up what's right, what's wrong?
Well, it depends. I mean, if you have a child that is going to a pre-K classroom in the school district, in a school.
Yes, that's where my daughter's going. She's going to a school system.
They will have the services there that will help her benefit if she continues to go to that school later on in life, so she could have a better understanding of, you know, the kindergarten readiness And the transition between pre-K and kindergarten is easier that way if they are actually in a school setting.
Okay.
But say if you're in a Head Start setting, they also have the services for speech pathologists and stuff to come on in and observe the children and make recommendations and see and monitor what the child is like with their development. So it depends on the situation which you're in, you know.
Okay. I mean, I've been doing this for 11, 12 years, but, you know, now I get to experience it with my own daughter and to see how it actually, you know, everybody's got their own thoughts, but as a parent, it's a lot different, I guess. And I've even learned that, parent versus teacher.
Mhm. It depends, you know. If a lot of it's just a preference. They both have the same common goal. You know, they want to get children ready for kindergarten and be kindergarten ready. But through that, I mean, if you have a pre-K, and in my personal opinion, if I had a choice, I would have my child in a pre-K, which she could go into kindergarten from there because the environment will be safe and it will be familiar to her. So I just think, you know, it depends. It depends. It depends on the situation. So Kedrian said, one thing I like about Head Start versus Pre-K is that it's very family-based, and my son gets a lot of one-on-one attention with his teacher. That is, to me, yes. Even in the public schools in kindergarten, there are ratios, I know in the state of Colorado, which I think are a little ridiculous, and I know we talked about ratios last week. But I know in the kindergarten classroom where we had our Head Start Pre-K last year, the ratio over there for the district was like 1 to 32 or 1 to 30, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Kedrian said, I wanted my son to go to pre-K, but the program here is only half day, so he really wouldn't be learning much. At least that's how I feel. You know, I mean, I think there's a benefit for children to be acclimated into a longer setting, because when they do go to school, they will be in school for 6.5 hours, 7 hours instead of 3 or 4 hours usually. So more learning will take place when you are in a longer setting. So can you guys share with me what has impacted your learning most in this module so far with the nurturing relationships? For me, it's learning from you guys and your guys' experiences. You know, I think as educators, we can never stop learning new techniques and strategies from each other. And the one thing I really like about online learning is you hear different perspectives from different people all over the country who do different things, which is very intriguing. So Aquila said each module so far brings about a different aspect of a child, but it all comes together. That is very correct. Does anybody have anything else to add? If nobody has anything else to add, I am going to leave this time for questions and answers. So just a little note that next week we will have our last live session on Wednesday, September 6th at 7:30 Central Standard Time. Please come prepared to share and participate your ideas. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me, call me, even text me if you want to. I will respond to you when I get a chance. And have a great rest of your week. All right. Brittany asked if we have a final exam. No, we do not. You could look ahead into your class and the course content to see what is due in Module 6. In Module 5, you will be submitting your journal entries. So make sure to keep on working on your journal entries. Okay, guys?